Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Show, your number one source for living empowered as an entrepreneur, side hustler, and bootstrapping badass. I am your host, Michael Anthony, and today our show is, how many of you have ever dealt with taking control, feeling out of control in your life, finding yourself in a place of victimhood versus ownership and empowerment? If you can relate with any of that, this show is for you. I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, entrepreneur, Tim Penso. Tim, welcome to the Kick-Ass Show.
Thanks for having me on, brother. Honored.
So everyone watching and listening, first off, let me say, hit the subscribe, hit the like, share this. The show doesn't cost you anything. What I do ask is that you, if it adds value, you don't be selfish. You help spread the word. Get this out there. Hit someone up with this. Also, feel free to follow me at Michael Anthony TV, wherever. Tim, I didn't ask you this beforehand, but if people want to hit you up and just check you out on social, where can they do that?
I follow you, so they can go right to your followers, and they can look up Tim Penso at TIMPENSO. And they can check out one of the company pages. We have Penso Properties, which is a real estate one that we have. We're not super active on that, and we also have the Penso Agency as well. So
okay,
but feel free to hit me up on my main one.
There we go. Boom. There it goes. So, all right. So for those of you watching, listening, I want to give you a little insight as to how this episode came about. So a little while ago, we were now, Tim, if you notice his background, Tim, your background's very modern and, dare I say, Miami-esque. Actually, yeah. Although, is that a photo of New York?
Yes, that's where my heart is always. That's where I'm from. I always keep that with me. I got the Bronx tatted somewhere on me, like most people in the Bronx do. But yes.
Represent. I love it. So we were celebrating a mutual friend of ours' birthday party, and they were doing a huge blowout down in Miami Beach, which actually, Tim, that's where you're living right now. Yeah. And we got to talking one night, over some cocktails and stuff. And I was like, it was going through my head. I'm like, dude, this dude's story will add value to people. And I think you even jokingly were like, hey, you should have me on the show. And I was like, I literally was just thinking that. And so here we are. And what I'd love to do. So first off, how old are you?
I just turned 28 Wednesday.
Okay. So you're a young motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're a young motherfucker. And so 28 years old. And how long have you been entrepreneurial? Like, how long have you worked for yourself? Kind of what yeah, go ahead.
Since I was 20. I was a W-2 until 3 months before my 21st birthday. Okay. So January 2015 is when I was no longer a W-2 getting a salary.
Okay. So for going on right around 8 years, 7.5, 8 years, something like that, you've been a full-time entrepreneur.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit here, because I don't know this at all. Let's talk about the genesis of you becoming an entrepreneur. What caused you to, and that look on your face has me being like, did you become a male dancer or?
I was like, hey, okay, Mike.
So yeah, what caused you also, did you go to college, or if you were 20 and you switched over to entrepreneurship?
Man, I just make it quick. So 18 years old, was living with my wrestling coach from high school, finished my senior year, or moved in to his house right after my senior year. I was having some issues getting along with my mother. She's awesome. We have a great relationship today, though. So I moved in with him. He was a teacher, super smart guy. And, you know, he was like guiding me, hey, go to college. You know, I went to college, wanted to be a state trooper. Hey, you know, if I could just make 6 figures, I would be so happy. You know, but at first it was like, hey, if I make 45 grand, I will be so happy, Mike.
Yeah.
And then if I become a state trooper, I'll be so happy because they make 6 figures. It's a place I thought at the time needed leadership. Still believe that today. Just like everything else in the world, right? And like 25,000 people took the test. They only hired 100. So I was like, you know. And
did you buy a lotto ticket on the same day?
So I was like, all right, I'll just keep going to school and I'll be a correction officer. Okay. Some things happened in my, you know, my life. You know, full transparency. I was in a serious relationship living with my girlfriend at the time. She got pregnant. She actually had a miscarriage later on down the road, but I was in college and I had to make a decision. I said I had to make a decision. At the time I was going to school full time and I was working full time.
Okay. And were you in sales or what were you?
I was working at the mall at a store called The Art of Shaving. And I was making $13 an hour.
There we go.
So I had to make a decision. I was like, listen, I'm not going to bring a child into the world that's going to have to struggle. You know, like I struggled a little bit as a child, and watched my parents, you know, always trying to pay the mortgage, pay the taxes on the house, and all sorts of craziness. Always threatened auctions happening for the home. We got to pack up the house. I was like, I'm not having that. So I had to make a decision. I made a fast and quick decision. I said, one's got to go. I left school behind, and then I started working 7 days a week. And then I was working 7 days a week. I was like, there's got to be something else.
Like 7 days a week at the shave place earning 13.
No, that's a good question. I was 5 days a week at the shaving place, and then 2 stores down, I worked at GNC selling fish oil and vitamins and protein.
Hell yeah.
Which was $7.25, plus like a very, very, very low commission.
Okay.
So yeah, then I just, you know, one thing led to another, and I got out of that rat race.
Okay. And what did you end up like from that? Were you actively, did you leave that 7 day a week grind? Really, I'll call it a grind. Because there's not really hustle. To me, hustle is moving to a purpose. A grind, you can be grinding in your hustle, but a grind is just like wearing you the fuck out with no purpose. And so from that standpoint, did you end up going directly from the shave and GNC into entrepreneurship, or what did that look like? How did that?
Well, I had a very close friend. Are you gonna be in Cancun?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. One of my best friends, John, he's coming with me. I have a forever loyalty to him because he's really responsible for introducing me and pushing me out of that rat race. I was going to stay in that rat race.
Okay.
So I had a lot of respect for him. I just met him at GNC, but I trusted him because I don't know if you ever heard of a trauma bond, but his father died from a suicide, and my dad died from a suicide. And when we made that connection, there was a instant trust. Yeah. And so we became close friends. He was about almost 10 years older than me, and I looked at to him like an older brother and mentor. So he's working at the Art of Shaving with me, and he goes, "Hey, listen, man, I have this buddy that used to work at GNC or at Vitamin World. He left. He went and did insurance, and he just bought a new car. He just got a house. Like, he's only been there like 6 months."
Yeah.
I said, "Really?" I said, "Really?" And but I'm like, "Insurance? You know, what? Insurance?" And I was like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, 100%. So then I'm like, okay, man, you go ahead. You go ahead. You know, if let me know. And me and John wound up living again. So we had a 2-bed, 1-bath in subsidized freaking housing, like Section 8, right? Yeah. And that, you know what I'm saying? Like in like the hood, like the hood, like it was
the hood of the Bronx.
No, we were in Syracuse.
Okay.
And I remember one day he came home and he's like, dude, he's all rattled. I'm like, what? He's like, this guy just punched this lady outside. I said, what? I said, did you do something? He's like, no, I was told not to get involved in that stuff. And like, we're learning. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, because they start defending the man, like, don't touch my man. You know, so I was like, all right. Like, that's where we were living at the time, right?
Yep.
So we're living together. And I'm like, dude, we got to get out. Like, there's got to be something more than the art of trading. So
maybe I'll try this insurance thing.
Yeah, 100%. So 100%. But I'll tell you, man, the subsidized place we had was nice. You know, there's some nice subsidized places,
Okay.
right? So, but the building, people was crazy. They have a fire drill in the building, and everybody has to get outside, and you really see who you're living with, right? So
you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So long story short, he winds up going, and then he gets me an interview. And where the loyalty really dug deep is I was not going to go to the interview. And I told him I'm not going. And I think it was the most aggression I've ever seen from him. He's a very calm, cool, collective guy. And he said, hey, listen, you're an idiot if you don't go to this. This is for you. You know, I know what you can do here. This is for you. It may not be for me, but it is for you. He actually wound up leaving a couple weeks later after I got started. I was like, John, what the hell, bro? You know, but
hey, he brought you into that, you know, from the employee quadrant to at least self-employed, right?
100%.
Hey guys, Michael Anthony here, and I have a question for you. Are you out of work or unhappy with your career? Are you tired of your boss giving you crappy raises? How about not being able to provide the life you want for you or your loved ones? Do you earn great money, but you're just tired of being someone else's bitch? If so, I invite you to visit workwithsymmetry.com/change to learn about the career that forever transformed the trajectory of my life. And it could change yours too. Like I said, this career isn't for everyone, but if you're unhappy where you're at, I encourage you to go to workwithsymmetry.com/change and take control of your life.
You know, he gave me that self-belief in my first couple of weeks in the business. My car broke down and I had to drive to clients' homes, and I was in a really bad place. I had to borrow money from my ex-girlfriend at the time because my car broke down and I couldn't get to my appointments that I booked. And mind you, and they also held me back in my class. Like they held me back in my class and they didn't release me from training. And I was like the youngest one. I didn't believe in myself. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not old enough. And
you were 20, 21 at this point?
I was 20 years old and I was in a class of 30 people like professional people. And it was just like, and I was just, you know, I showed up late my first day. I got embarrassed in front of the class and for the president and the vice president. They called me out in front of everybody. They're like, why are you late? I said, listen, there's no excuse for why I'm late. It doesn't matter. It won't ever happen again. I sat back down and shut up. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to work my ass off. And I was working my ass off and I wasn't getting the results. And then they're like, all right, everybody's getting released from training except for you, Tim. And I'm like, damn, what's that say more about my self-belief? You know what I mean? And my car broke down. I couldn't get along with my manager. He just got back from like Iraq or Afghanistan. He was in the Marine Corps. He was a very intense guy, a lot of respect, but he didn't have the most patience, I'll tell you. Love him to death though. Still have a relationship with him. He actually wound up becoming a police officer. Anyways, I booked some appointments, Mike. My car breaks down and my buddy John, I couldn't write an app to save my life for like 3 weeks. My buddy John, he picks me up in his beat up Toyota Camry. He goes, I'm taking you out. I'm going to come in the home with you. I go to my first one. I got a little think about it. And he's just like, dude, he's like, you're doing good, man. You're fine. You're fine. And right after that, dude, I wrote 5,000 that day. Dude, so I took those deposits. I went and bought a brand new Honda Accord the next week, man, and the rest is history. Literally, rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. There are several points up to this point of you writing that, you know, kind of getting your first, you know, your first success, your taste of success, in sales. Why the fuck did you not give up? Like, why didn't when, you know, you had to go to John and ask him, you know, why didn't you just, you know, you're young, you're okay, I don't want to say, how can I say this? You're young, you're driven. My guess is you had a pretty decent, well, did you or did you not have a decent belief in yourself at that point? Because a lot of the time you have the young, driven guys and gals. It's just, you know, you see more of this stereotype with dudes where they're not coachable, they're not teachable, they're not humble, and rather than like eat their own shit to get through something, they'll just jump and bounce to something else and blame the situation?
Yeah, that's it's a good question, man. I mean, I didn't. It's weird, right? Because I didn't believe in myself, but I was a confident person, but with the mentor, and it's funny, they say everything rises and falls on leadership. The manager I had that time, and it's crazy because he was going to come and work. He was coming to a corporate overview driving. He got the call from the mayor to come be a police officer, and that was his dream. So like the tables did turn down the road, but it was just crazy. But the thing is, it's like he scared the hell out of me, right? He scared the hell out of me in a way of like, he sucked the confidence right out of me. And that's why it's important in leadership and when you're training people to boost people up, even if they sound bad on the phones. You go, hey man, you know, you sound good. I'll just tweak a couple little things. Like he was just like, dude, that was ridiculous. So he was just sucking the air out of my balloon. And I was kind of losing myself. But at the core, I was a confident person. I did have that self-belief. You know, I wrestled. You know, I told you I wrestled. I lived with my wrestling coach. My first year wrestling, I was defeated, not undefeated. I was defeated. I lost every match. My mom and my brothers, I have 5 brothers, right? My brothers and my mom and my stepdad came to one of my first tournaments, and I got pinned in every match. And my mom's like, that was embarrassing. We're not coming back anymore. We're not coming back anymore. Now, mind you, I have 2 twin older brothers who were very good athletes. Okay. You know, 5'8", Dominican, Cuban, you know, just that build. And twins. So they got high self-belief because if shit goes sideways, they got the other one who's got their back, right? Yeah. So they had the perfect storm, right? But I always had friends that believed in me, right? One of my other friends, his name is John as well. He just launched a clothing company. Great. You guys check him out. It's a lifestyle. I follow him. They're great people, military guys, fitwear. Anyways, he always supported me. We wrestled together, and he was always like, hey man, you're getting better at wrestling. And the next thing you know, I wrestled all year round after I went defeated. And then when we came back to the regular season.
So what in that moment? It's the same thing there. You got your ass I'm going to say you got your ass handed to you.
Oh.
And your response was, come and get me, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because you're going, yeah, you're I love how you're digging it and not letting me off the hook on that, right? I was just going to give you another example of how I just, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think it was I always had people speaking into my life that I could be better than where I was at.
Do you got a chip on your shoulder though? Maybe? Was there a grind?
Define a chip on your shoulder.
So yeah, okay, that's fair because to me, there can be negative chips on shoulders. To me, a chip on a shoulder isn't a bad thing. Always a bad thing. For example, a book I'm reading and listening to right now, rereading it. The guy was just talking about he was like, most millionaires originally want to get rich because they have a chip on their shoulder. And, you know, it's one of those where, for me, I was like, yeah, when I heard that for the first time, I was like, yeah, I had a chip on my shoulder, from a standpoint of, I feel like I've had a lot of life that's fucked me over, and I'm not going to be the bitch anymore.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had something to prove, not necessarily to others, although it, you know, I didn't give a shit if others saw it. It was, I had a chip for me of like, I'm not going to be the bitch in life. Like I'm taking ownership of my life. And so I'm just wondering for you, was there a piece of that maybe from, okay, you have 5 brothers there, you know, are you like in the middle or lower, you know?
Yeah, well, and you know, I never really asked this, Mike. You know, I know you have a couple years on me, and a chip on your shoulder is really what that means is you kind of have an attitude about winning. Or what would you say? What would you describe the chip on your shoulder?
To me, I would say there's a internal drive. Now, okay, the unbeneficial chip on the shoulder would be where you see some guy or gal who, you know, they always got to be right. They're always, you know, they'll always one up people. They're super showy and superficial. However, I'm not against nice things. I'm not against that stuff as long as there's depth to the person. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
Right.
like they just got to surround themselves with, perfect women and all these nice things, because inside they're and also when you talk to them, they're douches.
Surface
And
level. That's what you're saying.
and so to me, that's the unbeneficial. The
Yeah.
beneficial chip is simply there's an internal, because the unbeneficial chip is I got to show the world I'm something. And this is, I haven't actually verbalized this or put words to this before. So this is beneficial both ways. The unbeneficial is a chip to prove to the outside world that I'm worth something. The beneficial chip is proving inside I'm worth something.
100%. So my wrestling coach, I had a conversation with him a couple months ago, and I told him, I said, I think it was when we're talking about superficial things now. This is we're gonna go now. This is crazy what you said and what he said to me. He goes, I said, hey, I was thanking him for everything he's done for me. We were talking in depth about something, and I said I never really thought I'd ever actually get the Ferrari. I've been talking to him about that since I was a kid. And I was like, man, I want to get a jet next. And he goes, man, when are you going to stop trying to prove something? And I was like, what? Like, I was like a little pissed. I was like a little mad. I'm like, I thought of, and I still think about it a lot. And he's right. But I will tell you, it's not, and I'm never going to stop trying to prove something to me.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And at a point, I will tell you, a lot of it was I was trying to prove something to other people, right? And the list. What's funny about that? The list, and I can be real about this, man, and I will be, whether it's right or wrong. I'm just going to be real. That list will continue as my life goes, and things happen in your life, and bridges burn, and things happen. That's just how I am. That's just, I bless the people who could let things go. But for me, it started, we moved out of the Bronx at a young age. My brother's first names are Orlando and Jose. Their last names are Peralta. All my brothers, we all have different last names. So we could put two and two together. We have different dads. And my mom took us upstate, and we got messed with a lot, and we had at a young age, before I graduated high school, I think I was in like 15 street fights, suspended so many times. None that ever started. Yeah. None that I ever started. It was just like literally defending myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My mom puts me in karate classes, right? I get my ass kicked at school. She goes, I'm paying all this damn money for karate classes, and you come home like this? I'm like, Mom, I did the best I could. He was in the 8th grade. I'm in the 5th. Like, he hit puberty faster. Like, what do you want me to do? And then she kicks my ass, right? Like, it was just like, you want to talk back to me? You want to talk back? Like, it was, so the chip. Then I think what happened was, it's crazy you say this. What happened was I actually started working out. I hit puberty. I started wrestling, and I was like, I got to wrestle because I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. Like, I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. So I started getting my ass kicked on the mat, but I'm starting to see little progress. And man, my wrestling coach, he's like a father to me. He's everything to me. He's my best friend. He's my best man. And he was always speaking like, this is not who you are. This is just where you are. This is not who you are. This is just where you are. And
powerful.
Yeah, man. And just, when things go crazy on the mat and you lose your emotions and you lose, people see it. They see it. Like your mom sees it. Your dad sees it. Your aunt sees it if she's there. Your girlfriend sees it. Your friend sees it, because it's a one-on-one sport.
Yeah.
So everybody knows when the other guy's faster than you, stronger than you, practicing better than you, in better conditions than you. And it's just like, I wanted to get better. And then I ran out of time, right? Became a senior in high school. And then I think a lot of that just transferred into life. And that's where I wanted to circle back to your original question of, why didn't you give up? And I initially said, people speaking into my life. And that's why I'm so big on who you hang out with.
So there's a lot, there's a lot there.
Should I just cancel my 4? Should I just cancel it now? No, I'm kidding.
This is going to be a 2-part series. I love it.
This is fun.
And so, okay. So you have just growing up, there's this ongoing challenge. There's pressures, there's life handing you some shit, whether it's, from douchebags at school or just ignorant. I feel like I've said the word douche more times on this episode than probably every other episode combined.
I hope it's not me. I hope
It might be you. And so you kept, the short of it is you kept persevering. You kept pushing. And so you start this insurance gig, you're failing at it. You basically get held back a grade and you have to do training over again.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. No one's ever broke it like that, but yeah.
And well, I got held back a grade. And and then as far as, do you figure it out during this second bout of training? Like, because was that sale with your buddy John, was that once you got out of training the second time, or was that during training?
That was, so they held me back, and then they were like, the manager's ego got in the way, and he was just like, I'm the only manager that had a trainee held back, and I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and I'm competent, and like that was his attitude, which he was a very competent guy. Totally respect what he did for our country. Like, he was the real deal, Holyfield. Ton of respect for me. He called me right now. I have to stop this. You know what I mean? Like, I love the guy. But the thing about him was, like, his pride got in the way, and he's like, well, I got to get my trainee out there. I got to get him out there even if he's not ready, which is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's figure it out as you go.
100%. So then I get out there. So I never even made the sale and training. Then I get out there, and I was like, fine, I'll do good when I'm on my own. And I remember I went to a couple houses, a couple days in the field on my own. And that was on Tuesday and Wednesday. I had 2 full days in the field, driving my Honda Civic, different color doors, different color fenders, I had a donut on the car, wheel falls off on the highway. He calls me up. He goes, listen, man, you always find a way to fuck everything up. That's what he says to me. Hangs up the phone. I'm like, shit. That's when John stepped in and goes, hey, don't worry about it. I'll take you to the rest of your appointments on Friday and Saturday. Friday's the day I write the 5K.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a leadership lesson of who not to be. Who not to be. Find a way to fuck things up. That really motivated me.
Right after me, he trained his brother, and then his brother quit, and then he quit.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? It sounds like he ended up finding what he really desired, and
100%.
So great for him. Now for you, okay, so it was after that. So what was going through, and I want to unpack this for people listening right now, that if they're an early entrepreneur, and even 8 years ago, the internet or social media was not as, like, it was there and it was influencing. However, it wasn't as permeated as it is today from a cultural standpoint. And the ability for an entrepreneur at any stage, I'll say though, specifically early entrepreneurs, that they're in their side hustle phase of, okay, I have my 9 to 5, and maybe unlike you, where they were able, single and low overhead and whatever, and able to just flip things and get things figured out, they gotta, they're waking up at 5 a.m. to do to start their business. They're grinding on certain things in their hustle. And it's so easy to be like, dude, I've been, hustling for, 2 years for 3-4 hours, in the mornings and after work and this and that. And I don't have a fucking boat. I don't have a plane yet. I'm not on a yacht. I'm not living this baller life of that. I see all these people, in my feeds living this life. What's wrong with me? because that's the question that so many people are asking. What's wrong with me?
100%. Why?
And so if you remember in that moment of you have this, beater car or just good enough car, has a, freaking tire fly into it on the interstate. It gets trashed. Your mentor at the time tells you you're a fucking, loser and mistake. What went through your head that kept you going? And what would you say to people who are right where you were?
Dude, wow. I can't believe you were able to bring me back to that moment, because I forgot about that moment. And I remember, I'll tell you one thing. I was at the bottom, but I looked good. I was on the side of the highway. I had my only suit on. I remember the tie I was wearing. I was wearing all black. I had this nice black and purple tie. I don't know why I was wearing all black, but that's probably why I wasn't selling anything. I was wearing all black. That was the grim.
Like you're selling. I don't know if you were selling life insurance at the time, but you're selling life insurance dressed like the fucking Grim Reaper. They're like, am I gonna sign this and this motherfucker takes me in the coffin?
So the donut, they said that you can't go over 65. So I was going 80 on the highway, and the donut just flew off the tire, smashed. I hear the axle scraping across the thing. I said, damn. Called the manager. I get off the phone with him. I sit there. I call my old boss, friend of mine. Her name is Daisy. Still got a relationship. All these people, I have, and then like a crazy loyalty to all these people. Like no matter what, I would just always keep them, because I called her. I had no money. All credit cards are maxed, and I call her up, but I didn't want to ask her for money. Then I call my brothers. I didn't want to ask them for money. And then at the time,
you did ask them though?
No.
So what would you call them up and?
I was just looking for somebody to get me out of the situation, to maybe give me money, but I didn't ask. I remember that specifically. I did not ask. And then I remember.
And you didn't ask because were you feeling shame at the time, or?
I was just feeling terrible. I felt the worst. I'm a loser at the time. I'm like, you suck. Like, you are not making it happen. Like, you're going to end up back at the mall just like they were telling you, right? And I'm like, damn, should I have taken? And I had some opportunities on the table at the time. Like, I had a furniture deal, and like their average guy was making like $70K. That was a lot of money to me.
Yeah, when you're $13 an hour, $70K is like fucking lotto.
And I was already in a mortgage match program, which is a program to buy your first rental property, but you needed to keep a W-2. And I gave that shit up for this vision and dream I had. So I was like, and everybody's like, dude, why would you do that? You're going to end up back. I was so excited, telling all these people. I think I had a lot of external pressure that kept me going, because I told all these people, I was like, I'm going to make $100,000. I'm going to make $100,000. And everybody was getting pissed. Like, oh, Tim thinks he's all fancy with his new job. And I just kept saying, I was like, dude, I made it. Like, I was saying I made it. And like, I didn't make anything. Like, you got to hunt and eat what you kill. And I didn't hunt yet. I didn't eat anything. I didn't kill anything. I was starving. So the truck, Mike, the tow truck comes up. They take my car on the bed. And I'm like, I'm looking at it. And I'm like, can't get any worse. Then they bring you to the tow place. And I just look miserable. The people there feel bad for me. And my girlfriend at the time, we were in a gray area, right? My life was a mess, so my relationship was a mess. And she's just like, and she's awesome. We still have a friendship. She's married. She's great. We're friends on Instagram, and wish her happy birthday every now and then. And same loyalty to her, right? She was like, hey, I'll get the part. Don't worry about it. I'll get the part. I'll take care of the tow thing. And I'm pretty sure I paid her back. Now I feel like I got to go check in with her. But hey, did I ever pay you back? No. And I wound up. I'm pretty positive I wound up paying her back. And and then my car was gone for a couple of days. That's when John came in, but and took me. But back to that point, I was just like, I just told too many people And I didn't want to be like everybody else, man. I didn't want to be stuck in the mall. I didn't want to be back at the like $13 an hour. Like I just knew there was more. And I knew there was people who were like, two things. There was people counting on me to win, and there was people counting on me to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I cared way more about the people who were counting on me to win than the people who were counting on me to go backwards. I didn't really give a fuck what they thought at the end of the day when it's all said and done.
Yep.
Right. And I will say to your social media thing, which I think is interesting. I just want to throw this out there. I deleted my social media when I started off on my own for a year.
Why'd you do that?
I wanted to cut all distractions, and when I popped back up, I wanted to pop back up a different person because I didn't like who I was at that time.
That's powerful. I'm making some notes here on just some things that I'm hearing, and you know that accountability. It took a minute to get to that. That is a powerful force, though, Tim. That's a powerful force because what I'm hearing it did in your life, and I see this both as far as in mine and in others that I've coached, that this when we throw it out there, it's like a lightning rod, and it throws people into two camps, and you find out who's for you and who's not, like who's secretly hating and who's for you. And you know, I discovered that surprisingly a few years ago, you know, with when I did the 40K for 40 for my 40th, where, you know, as far as raising 80,000, donating 40, raising another 40, that type of thing. And there were some people that I ended up there. I was just thinking about this yesterday, how there's some inner circle friends of mine that, look, when you're friends with someone for, you know, a long time, sometimes you end up on different paths, different journeys, stuff like that.
100%.
And it's easy for me, and this is me being vulnerable with everyone here, for my personality, like I can seem loving and jovial and whatever. Inside, I can be a judgmental asshole. And I can be like, oh, well, I'm better than you. And
Mike, did you see what I posted this morning on Instagram at the gym? Oh no. Man, this kicked me hard. Every morning at the gym, they have a motivational thing. This is what you're talking about. And I'm the same way.
Okay.
If you look down on other people for not being as evolved as you, then you're not as evolved as you think.
Boom. And that is like humble pie, you know, humble pie. And there was one particular friend that I had become somewhat internally judgmental of. And this is why I'm so grateful for these friends, because it's like they remind me of who I am. I'm no one, right? Like we all are everything and we all are nothing, if that makes sense.
100%.
You know, from that standpoint of, look, I am, you are, we have infinite potential in us. And at the same time, we put our pants on one fucking leg at a time. You know, we're one or two or three random unbeneficial choices away from, you know, poverty or you know, some, you know, wrecked relationship, or, you know, fill in the blank, whoever it is in whatever situation we want to try to, you know, think, oh, I'm better than. It's like, well, but by the grace of God, or if you don't believe in God, you know, thank God for chance, or, you know, whatever, you know, with it. And that was, I ended up finding out that there were at this party, this event that, you know, I didn't even know about, blah, 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 blah. There were some people that started talking shit about what I was doing. And this particular friend, like, almost got in a fight with, and this was another friend of theirs. And they almost fought this person because they were like, you don't fucking know his heart. Like, what is wrong with people being helped, and what's wrong with the blah, 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 blah. And that taught me, Tim, a lesson of like, just like this ex-girlfriend of yours, you can't buy that loyalty. You know, you
Right.
can't buy that. Like, there was no reason for her to get you that other than she chose to. And that's the second thing of surrounding yourself. I'm noticing a pattern of you're loyal to people, and in return, people are loyal to you. You know, it's like your coach,
Yeah.
you know, your coach, several, your manager, your fucking loser manager, the other one, your girl past, relationships, your friends,
My brothers.
the guy John, like,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. They've been loyal to you, and you've been loyal to them. And so if you're listening and watching right now, I'm gonna throw this out there to say, look, how loyal are you being? You know, are you saying nobody's here for me? I'd ask, how are you being there for others? Like, start internalizing that. And Tim, I'm gonna say to everyone watching and listening, like, I'll say it to myself. As I've said, I've fucked up in this area from time to time. So I'm not coming at this from I'm fucking perfect. Here's what you do, motherfuckers. Don't be a loser, blah, 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 blah. It's, hey, we got to recalibrate, on stuff. So
I love everything you're saying right now. It just has me thinking of like areas where, I haven't been, like there's some people I got to check in with because life gets busy. You push, and it's like, hey, let's go back and say, hey, you doing all right? Is there anything I can do for you? But it's important, man. You see it all the time in this world. I know your podcast and asking a lot of questions about the entrepreneurship, but it's like you see people and it's always like, you better stay humble or you're going to get humbled. And, it just reminds me of somebody that came across a couple years back. And this guy came in here so cocky, one of the cockiest I've ever seen. Like,
okay.
No, not one of the cockiest I've ever seen. And he got humbled, and he's not in the business anymore. And that's
and that's what I'm talking about, that differentiator of he's not in the business because of his ego, I'll say. I mean,
yeah, 100%. And the CEO of my old company said this, and this guy is just like, crazy results. And he said things are never as good as they seem, and they are never as bad as they seem.
yes.
And it's like, you got when things are really great, hey, that's awesome. 2 claps. Awesome. Hey, when you're down, this too shall pass. Right.
Yep.
And that's just the way, what I've seen over the years. Doesn't mean it don't suck when you're there, and it doesn't mean it ain't amazing when we were a couple of weeks ago, or when we, like, that was some amazing times, that we had. We were like, that was great. But yeah, man, it's good stuff. Good stuff. I love where you're going right now, man. This is great.
Well, so, all right. So you get some success. Like, was it smooth sailing for you? The car crashes, you're not giving up. You're basically, you in a positive way have backed yourself in a corner. You've told everyone, here's where I'm fucking going. The haters are hating. Those that care most about you are concerned about you not achieving it, and then what occurs as a result of that. What's that going to mean for Timmy? I don't know if anyone's ever called you Timmy, but just like, they're like, oh, I don't want him to get hurt. I don't, all that sort of stuff. And you're here, you have friends, bailing you out. You hit some sales, and then what happens?
So then I
sailing from there on, then on out.
No, it's fucking war. I joke all the time. I say, I don't go to work, I go to war. but I love it. Right. I mean, if we're not fighting for something, are we even living? Right. So then what happens is, I'm working 7 days a week for like 9 months straight, legit 9 months straight. I go to ask for a day off. My manager flips out on me. He goes, "I thought you wanted to be the best." Like, I worked 9 months straight. I'm talking, I'm in the field on Friday and Saturday. I'm dialing on Sunday. I'm dialing on Monday. I'm in the field on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm dialing again on Thursday for Friday, Saturday. Repeat, rinse, repeat. I was living a bad life. When I mean bad, like, I was so I thought I was probably on my way to have a heart attack at 22 years old. I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 16. I was neglecting that part of my life because I was chasing money. I'm chasing money. I'm not taking care of my body. RA, I don't know if you know.
Rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis. It's an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, if you would unpack that a little bit for the audience if they aren't familiar with it.
Yeah, so autoimmune disease, and listen, I'm not, I got a couple credits in college, not a degree. And
look, you tell it from a standpoint of, I live with this, motherfuckers. Here's what it is.
So autoimmune disease, your body attacks itself. It gets confused. What I believe, like, not like HIV, but with HIV, it gets confused and it attacks its immune system, right? I think that's what happens there.
Yeah.
Then you can get sick and you can die from a cold. Mine is nothing like that at all. It's autoimmune disease. Body gets confused. It does not attack the autoimmune system. It attacks its own joints. So it thinks your joint is an enemy. And then it's like, all right, your joint's an enemy. Let me attack it. So my body is constantly fighting itself. So I'm usually, the number one symptom of that is I'm exhausted. I'm always tired, and I'm always in pain. And it's something that this past couple of weeks, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about because, I do like to live my life. And, one of my best friend's birthdays just happened. And if you want to have some champagne, that's going to hurt my body. I'm going to wake up really more tired than I normally am, more pain than I normally am in. And that's just something I've been just living with since I was 16. And the thing is, there's no cure for it. So you kind of like, you're like, when is this thing gonna, like, when I'm in an unhealthy place with my mind, I'll think, when is this thing just gonna accelerate and just cripple me?
Yeah.
Right. But when I'm in the best place, like, I'll tell you today, man, I woke up today with the least amount of pain that I've had in probably 6 months. And I was jazzed about it. Like, I texted Paige. I was like, she's like, so happy to hear that. But, I just have to, so it forced me, I had to make some hard decisions. I had to take control of it. And when I was at my old company working all those days, I was canceling doctor's appointments all the time just to show the company how dedicated I was, just to show my team how dedicated I was. Like, hey, I'm canceling appointments out here. I'm canceling doctor's appointments to be the best. What are you doing? Right. And that was the unhealthy side of some bad things that started to happen after the car breaking down, getting the new car. Because then it's like, okay, you're making money. Then you start making money, and then you're like, wait a minute, you got different problems. Okay, your car gets towed, not a big deal. You paid $150, not a problem, right? But now it's like, okay, you're making money. You never had money before. You're making $100 grand. You're spending $150. You're putting things in your body that you shouldn't be, right? Use your imagination,
yeah.
Right? And just all these different things. I'm ruining relationships because my bank account's growing faster than I'm growing as a person. So now I'm better than you, right? All these.
Say that again. Your bank account is growing faster than you are as a person.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So my bank account was growing faster than I was as a person, and I was just like, and people are noticing it. All I would talk about was how much money I'm making. That's all I would talk about. And people started to hate me for it, and rightfully so. And I had to learn fast, and I had to learn, like, that's not everything's about that, and money is great, but, like, I love the saying, some people are so broke, all they have is money. And there's some listeners that, you're tuning in right now. Think of some people that, that have money and are freaking miserable, right? That's not what it's, I believe money is to be made to be given away. right? To whether it's spent, invested, given away, exchanged. Yeah,
It's an energy.
I mean this in a non-self-centered way, but I spend money. Like I spent it with one time my friend was like, what are your views? Because he's a really great saver and I'm a really great spender. And he's like, what are your views? And I'm like, well, why would you save money when they're printing it all the time? Number one. And number two, I always know that I can make money whenever I want. Like, but anyways, it was growing. Sorry, I went down a little rabbit hole there, but
you're good.
Yeah. So that's what was going on. It was
so how long was that? Because that's, you said you were 22, so that's like 6 years ago.
Yeah. Well, 20 to 22. Yeah, that's when things were. I was growing. My team was growing. Money was growing, and then I learned some other lessons in life.
Right, like
betrayal, defamation, manipulation. Right, like I realized that I was a workhorse for some people in the entrepreneurial world, and I realized that I didn't realize the value I brought to the table because I was always a loser in my life. So then I finally was winning, but not internally. On the outside, people saw me as an effective person who brought value, and they would just squeeze the value. Like, hey, I just need a day off. Okay, well, I thought you wanted to be the best. Well, hey, man, I haven't seen my family. Okay, well, what about your team's family? Real conversations I'm having with my old manager. Not the manager that we were talking about, another manager.
Yep.
And this guy was incredible. He was 27, 28, making $800,000 a year. I had a lot of respect for the guy. He was competent, super competent. Took me a lot of years to repair that relationship, a lot of therapy, and we still.
I was going to say that speaks to, to you from a standpoint of like, I'd be like, look, I'm going to honor you by just not being around you.
Yeah.
And in a lot of sense, he was a young guy.
Yeah.
At the time, and
and
he was a year younger than you. A young guy.
He was. No, he was when he turned 30. That was the last time I saw him at his 30th birthday party, and that was the year at 29 he made 800. But he learned a lot of lessons because a lot of his team left him after he just finished number one in the company, in a massive company. Like he was really good at what he did. But at the end, some things went sideways, and
short term, really good.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Things went sideways, and his team ended up leaving him. I was honestly one of the first guys that left him, and that's when I met Ayers, and Ayers was exactly who. For you guys who are listening, he's a business partner of mine, a mentor of mine. He kind of took me into another world and kind of mentored me, showed me the ropes of business. Yeah, and it's just been amazing because two different people. When I met that gentleman wasn't making a lot of money. He just made 150 grand, 180. I said that's it. Like at the time, I was like, that's it. Like, man, the law of the lid. Like if you're a 7, you can't really bring. And I'm like, I was like, dude, I was like, man, you're a nice guy, but like, being nice isn't going to pay the bills. And that's just where I was at mentally at the time. But I was like, I loved how he treated his wife. I loved how he treated his wife. And I was like, money is not everything, because I was just making great money. And these people stepped on me when I was down. They stepped on my neck. One of the last things they told me when I left that company, he's like, there was two managers there. The one guy's like, he's like, man, I know kindergartners that are mentally stronger than you. Why won't you just shut up and work? That's the head boss. His little minion was like, that I was close with, was like, he's like, you really want to leave this company? He goes, what? He goes, remember what your life was like before you met me. He goes, you want to go back to the ghetto, living on a couch? Like this, he said, in subsidized housing. Like, you want to go back to your old broke life? And I'm in tears. I'm 21. I was 20. No, I just turned 22. I was 22, and these people were like the people who saved me, right, from the mall. Because you hear that bad part, but there was a lot. They taught me a lot, or they showed me how to make money, right? Yep. They showed me a lifestyle. They showed me how to
raise money blueprint.
Yeah, I'm not going to say they're bad people, right? They may have said some bad things, and I hope the best for all of them. And the one manager there, rest in peace, and he did pass away, and I would never speak ill on the death. And he impacted a lot of lives. He just had a different culture, and it was a culture what was perceived
unbeneficial for you.
Was
for
not
many people, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, right? And some people it works, and there's people there, and he made a lot of money and impacted a lot of lives, but I did not want to be treated like that anymore, and I was done with it.
Yeah.
And when you lose control, and that's I saw how they responded, and it was like, okay, you just wanted something from me and not for me. So I'm going to take my talents and I'm going to head to South Beach. I'm joking. I waited a couple years for that. I went to Boston, and that's where I got linked up with the company I've been with now. And
you've been there because that's the same industry. As
insurance.
Insurance. So just changing to a place where you were valued and where you've been able to grow, and during that, have you been there? So you've been there for how long now?
I've been with the company I'm with now for 5.5 years.
Okay.
Yes. From 23 to
5.5 years. And so in that, on the personal journey side, did you come over to this burned out? Like were you, it sounds to me like you were crisp, your health was shaky. There was not a lot. The money you had been making was costing you too much.
150%. And at the end of the day, that's all I knew. So it was like, I didn't even care. I didn't want to be treated like shit anymore. Okay. And like, I'm not, there's people, I feel like this is such an emotional term when people are like, oh, I was the top guy at a huge financial firm. Like, I'm just gonna give you some real numbers. Like, I was the number one sales trainer out of 3,000 training agents in an international company that was owned partially by Warren Buffett, that did $200 million in revenue a year. That's just a fact. They treated me like shit, like garbage. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were treating me like shit until somebody from the outside was like, you're in their freaking company magazine and they're treating you like, why would they they would say kindergarten, they know kindergartners are stronger than you. That's what they said. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And this is when I went to my uncle. My uncle, this is good. You don't like this. My uncle, my abuelo, grandfather in Spanish, he came from Cuba. His son, born in Brooklyn, immigrant, poor family, started running, got a full scholarship to college.
Okay.
Got out, started his own company, does very incredibly well, like eight, 9 figures, right? So okay. I call him up. I don't really have a relationship with him at all. My mom's brother doesn't know me. I met him like a couple times. I knew he was in Massachusetts. I said, hey, I'm thinking about moving out to Boston. Got an opportunity out there. And people usually only call him for one reason in my family. And you probably know what that reason is. Exactly. Yep. And,
hey guys, Michael Anthony here. And I have a question for you. Are you out of work or unhappy with your career? Are you tired of your boss giving you crappy raises? How about not being able to provide the life you want for you or your loved ones? Do you earn great money, but you're just tired of being someone else's bitch? If so, I invite you to visit workwithsymmetry.com/change to learn about the career that forever transformed the trajectory of my life. And it could change yours too. Like I said, this career isn't for everyone. But if you're unhappy where you're at, I encourage you to go to workwithsymmetry.com/change and take control of your life.
And I said, hey, this is what I'm dealing. He said, oh, what do you got going on? I got a couple things out here. And I said, I'm good. And I said, this is what I'm dealing with. But they tell me this is how you get spoken to when you make 6 figures. And he goes, well, I'll tell you. I have plenty of people that make 6 figures that work for me, and I don't speak to them like that. And and I remember we were, that was my first time meeting up with him. We had an initial call, and then I met up with him, and he was walking his dog, and I was just telling him what I was dealing with. And he told me that, and that kind of stuck in my head, and my wheels turned. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave here. And I left that company with no plan B. I had no other thing. And everybody was like, you don't do that. You don't do that. And I'm like, but I'll put the chips on myself.
You'll put the chips on yourself. That's powerful. I feel like so many entrepreneurs fail because either they do put the chips on themselves and then they start second guessing, or they just don't have the belief to begin with. Along those lines. And that's actually, Tim, that's what got me into full-time entrepreneurship. Is a mentor of mine was talking one day, and I had been looking at leaving where I was at. I just, it was one of those for me growing up, again, that six figure, why the fuck six figures is a magic number? Who the hell knows? This fictitious, if I earn six figures, all my problems will be solved. And I achieved that. And I looked around, and because I'm driven, and I looked around at the landscape, and I was like, this is the corporate world, man. Like, there's a lot of sharks in the water, and it's not that I won't fight. I just have zero desire to play bullshit politic games. Like, I'll lose at that.
100%.
I'll lose at that because it's just not, I'm about being genuine, and that just like eats my soul. I'm like, fuck you, two-faced rat motherfucker. Like, I'll respect the fact you play the game that way. I just need a different game to play.
100%.
And so I was on this fence because it was like, okay, kind of stable and what it was, everything I told myself I wanted my whole life. And yet it was eating me up inside. And meanwhile, my wife, had started up at the same company where you have this is also something I want to just delineate for a quick second. You own what you have now versus before you were 1099, entrepreneur, yet you didn't own anything. Because when you left that company, all your business stayed there.
100%. And that's like, and to me, an entrepreneur is somebody who's really just either owning multiple businesses, or like you're on your own. Like, nobody's cutting your check but you, right? Yeah. And it was 100% commission sales. And that's, you're
yeah. I get that. I just mean like.
Oh no, yeah, I know you get it. I'm just saying for the audience listening in, like, it's 100% commission sales. Like, that's highest paid profession in the world. No cap.
It is. So and so for me, it was one of those, my mentor said, because people were like, you're cocky. And he was like, I'm not cocky. He was like, I'm confident. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what I mean by that is I believe in myself. And he said, people will ask, why is it you're so confident? And he goes, because I'm not going to lose. And somebody was like, well, but that's, I mean, let's be real. That's impossible in entrepreneurship. You're going to lose at some point on something. And he was like, no, you're not hearing what I'm saying. He goes, I'm not going to lose. In the moment, I may have lost. And that's where people will pile on and hate on me and be like, oh, you lost. He goes, they're just seeing short term. I have a longer vision. And I just see out further than everyone else.
That's so good.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then, Tim, he said, and this is literally what changed my life. He goes, people think I'm quick to make decisions. He goes, because of my personality, because of how people see me on the outside. He goes, I'm actually extremely slow and extremely methodical. He goes, however, and he goes, this is where most entrepreneurs fuck up. He goes, once I make the decision to do something, I do not look back. Because at that point, because I've studied, because I've done my diligence, once I make the decision, the only way I can fail is if I stop to start second guessing myself and start looking back. And he goes, the moment I look back, I lost. Other than that, you're just not seeing out as far as I have, because I'm gonna fucking win.
That's good.
That's I don't remember what you said that spurred that in me, but that you said something along those same lines. And so
no, I love that, man. Well, and Michael Jordan said that. He goes, I never lost a game, I just ran out of time. You know, and it's the long game, right? We're all playing the long game, and that's the only scary thing to me about passing on and dying is like you don't know when your time's up. So it's like you sometimes, you know, it's like, hey, how long do I want to push out? Yeah. Right? It's like, when is the right time to pluck the fruit from this branch, or do I want to keep watering the plant and the root so that I can get a bigger fruit? Right? That's the battle of life for me, right? But
there's a time to grab the fruit to eat off it, and there's a time to let it grow and mature.
100%.
So what would you? Okay, so today you're in a different place than that burned out. Like, how would you describe your life today from and this is where we can be like, you know, boats and hose, you know, well,
there's a couple boats, or a boat or two, but no hose. But yeah, I'm sorry.
But no, on a deeper level though, like, you know, what is your life? What's your satisfaction scale? What's your health scale? Like, what would, answer those. And then I got one more question.
So yeah, I mean, and I was never really like burned out when I showed up here, because I did have a chip on my shoulder to prove everybody wrong, right? And my old company, I was like, oh, watch what I'm going to do now, right? And
okay, so you leverage that again as.
Yeah, man, I think, yeah, I had a big prey drive, right? Like I was just like, I'm going to ruin you guys. Like that was the mentality I had. Like you guys messed with me in a bad way, and I'm going to show you that I'm not a kid. Yeah. So anyway, first year here, if you guys speak the insurance language, we did $1.5 million our first year for rookie agencies. Like I haven't seen anybody. I think that might be right. Might be the, you know, I say this with pride with the team. There's some pride there, as you can see a little bit.
You know what though? You throw it out there, and that's because someone like you know, years ago can hear this, and they go, oh, okay, here's the standard. Let me go and achieve this for my life.
Yeah. We placed $1 million our first year. It's crazy. But anyways, so my 12th month after that, I was just telling somebody today, my 12th month, I'm making $25,000 a month.
Yeah.
Without selling myself, from the team and the training and everything that goes into all that, you know. This ain't no lotions and potions or like
insurance.
This is insurance. Like this ain't nothing sexy about it, right? So that year, now my income is run rating at a $25,000 a month at that time income, right? And I remember I booked a first class ticket by myself to the Dominican Republic. I'm at the airport by myself. I worked every day that year. Like, because if I could work 9 months for somebody else straight, I could work every day for myself, right? So I'm at the airport and I get a cash app from Ayers for $3,000, and it was contest. It said contest winner, or Venmo or something like that. Contest winner. And I was like, oh, I forgot I won that contest. So I'm at the airport, first class by myself, just worked every day. And first time flying first class, and I was just I felt like Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl, man. Like it was just like, and that was just the start of like a whole new life, a whole new, like a clean life. Like I don't even know if like I was just completely alcohol and like drug free. Like at my old company, like I was a young kid. They were doing stuff there that like I just thought was normal. Like I don't touch anything like that anymore. But like
You're like, I always do a line before I go into home.
Absolutely not. So that's hilarious. So like it was just a whole new balanced like life, and I was able to focus on my health because I had so much time, and you know I was able to get my blood tested to see what foods triggered my body with the rheumatoid arthritis. Like I know wheat, tuna, tea, too much caffeine, just caused pain for me. And that was great that I was able to do stuff like that, right? And at the time when I started this, like my credit was like a 600, my debt was like 50K, and fast forward now, it's really cool. It's net worth's over $1 million, not over 2 yet, but pushing and things like that. And if you throw the agency in there, it's definitely over that. But just in real estate, it's great. I bought my first property in 18, and I've bought one every year since, or built one, either bought one or built one. Yeah, it's great. It's life, it's good. It's great. I'm still learning to just give myself some grace and not like just be so damn hard on myself that I should be farther. Right. So,
well, I'll enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey. And look, I get there's people out there, you have people who, if they're not getting results, what do? Well, at least I have the journey. That's not what I'm fucking talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. It's one of those, just enjoy, like, you're the type of person, you're going to get shit done. Right. If you're listening or watching this, like, do the fucking work. Okay. Do the fucking work to get a result, and enjoy the journey. Find ways to, there's pushes, there's sprints, like, your 9-month, your 12-month, you said, hey, I worked 9 months for these other people, I'm going to work for myself, just as hard for a year. Like, yes, that's great. There is always someone else that's doing more at a younger age, I remember when I was probably 29, maybe had just turned 30. Mm-hmm. And I was reading like this, I don't know, Money or Inc. magazine or something like that. And it was talking about this girl. She was 22 years old, and she had like already had like 4 companies. And, she was sitting there, having cocktails with her friends on her 5th company. And she's worth, 25 million and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm earning fucking $30,000 a fucking year, with not enough money to have my air conditioning on. And, she's, 8 years younger than me or whatever. And I'm like, I'm a fucking loser. And it's like, at the end of the day, we got to run our race.
100%.
You got to run, you take care of your health. You know what I mean? You got your one body, earn the money to be able to take care of it like you are, and then take the time to take care of it. And, right. And so as we wrap this up, Tim, what would be either one thing, looking back at, younger version of yourself, that you would either tell yourself with the wisdom you have today, and or what's one nugget that you just feel you really want to share to the listeners and viewers on here?
That's good. I'm going to start with the one thing I would tell my younger self. And,
okay.
And it's honestly one of the things I like about Paige, Matt. Younger, reminds me of my younger self. She's 22, but walks around like she's 35.
Yeah, she's a boss.
Yeah. And I think people, if you get into an environment like I did, like she did, and you're valuable, people can use you and take advantage of you at a very, very high level of use, abuse, and manipulation. And what I would say to my younger self is, do everything you can to know your own worth, and to not just hang out with people in your world of where you work, so that you could really know your worth. Because if you're really that valuable, you will be able to negotiate a better life where you're at in that situation. If I knew the worth that I had when I walked out of that company, and I don't regret anything because I'm really happy where I'm at, but if I knew the value in where I was at that time, like being the number one trainer there, but feeling like I was a piece of shit and garbage. If I knew the value I really brought, I would have walked into a healthier conversation. Like, instead of crying in my tears, I would have been like, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. And that would have just been better for my soul in the future. And I would have set a clear boundary for myself. So it's like, okay, you want to talk to me like that? We'll see whose life crumbles. And the truth is, if I knew what they meant by my life would crumble without them, I would have crumbled a lot sooner, Mike. And that's really the truth. Because they said, your life will crumble without us. So I was like, okay.
If this is crumbling, then what the fuck was I waiting for?
Exactly, right? And it's like, I would tell younger people that get in that situation, because it usually happens to younger people.
Yeah.
And it can happen to anybody, really, but I feel like it happens to younger people because they just don't know anything else.
Yep.
Right? Like, I remember my friend worked there, Tanya, and she was like 40 at the time, and she's like, hey, listen, they're about to call you into a meeting that I want you to know that they would not get away with if you were 30 or older. So know your worth, walk in there confident. I didn't walk in there confident. I crumbled right away. I just wasn't developed there, Yeah. So I tell everybody, know your worth, so that you could walk in there, walk in whatever that meeting is, and have the best conversation that you could have. And the nugget I could give, I would like to give everybody, and I share this with everybody. It used to be in my Instagram bio, but it's, you got to get good at one of two things, and that's either planting in the spring or begging in the fall. And the one you want to get good at is planting in the spring. That's something that's super important to me. I live by it. Jim Rohn mentioned it, and it's just something that I've taken with me, and I live by it. That's that delayed gratification, so that you could keep watering the root, but at the right time, pluck the fruit.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Well, brother, I appreciate you being on the show, sharing your story. Guys, gals, when I say guys, it's everyone, all human. Drop a comment. Let Tim know, you value him, what it is that spoke out. And again, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, follow. Also, engage on Instagram, on YouTube. There's daily, like if you made it to the end, maybe you fast forwarded to the end here to see how we end. Well, there's daily little clips that we put out every day. So hit the subscribe, watch this shit, grow yourself. All right. Nobody, or rather I should say, if anybody ever cares more about your success than you do, you're living someone else's plan for your life. So take ownership and keep living your life to the fullest. Till next time. Peace.
P.S. Don't be a dumbass. Remember, this is a conversation and not meant to be personal or legal advice.